If you're upgrading your PC right now, you've probably noticed a glaring problem. The hardware market has locked everyday consumers out of the ecosystem. Looking at this line chart tracking the price of a standard 32GB DDR5 memory kit, you can see exactly how fast it happened. The cost jumped from $115 to nearly $500 in a span of just 3 months. Even if you try to step back to an older, budget-friendly DDR4 setup, you'll find those manufacturing lines are rapidly being phased out. There are practically no cheap alternatives left. This price spike is a departure from the crypto mining cycles we've seen in the past. Today's demand is coming directly from hyperscale tech companies, places like OpenAI, Meta, and Google, racing to build massive AI data centers. This pie chart of the global memory market shows just 3 massive corporations, SK Hynix, Samsung, and Micron, controlling 93% of the supply. Chasing massive AI profit margins, they shifted manufacturing priorities away from consumer PCs to lucrative enterprise contracts. As a result, corporate data centers are devouring nearly all the available memory on the planet, leaving the consumer hardware market completely starved. To understand why AI data centers need so much memory, we have to look at a technical bottleneck called the memory wall. Modern GPUs process information incredibly fast, but standard memory simply cannot feed them data quickly enough. That latency severely limits how well large language models can run. To get around this, the industry adopted high bandwidth memory, or HBM. The concept is straightforward. You physically place the memory modules as close to the GPU processor as possible to shorten the distance the data has to travel. Instead of standard flat modules, HBM is constructed as microscopic towers. Up to 12 extremely thin DRAM chips are stacked vertically, creating a massive, wide pipeline for the data to flow through. Building these microscopic towers is incredibly complex. It costs about 3 times as much to manufacture an HBM chip compared to standard memory, but tech giants are willing to pay a massive premium for it, yielding huge profits for the suppliers. To capture those profits, the big 3 memory manufacturers began aggressively retooling their standard PC memory factories. They are dedicating their advanced cleanrooms and automated machinery almost exclusively to pumping out HBM. The consumer DDR5 shortage is the physical consequence of a manufacturing overhaul. Factories have literally ripped out their standard assembly lines to clear space for the high-margin HBM production required by AI. So when does this supply drought actually end for the consumer market? Companies like SK Hynix, Samsung, and Micron are pouring billions of dollars into building brand new manufacturing facilities across Indiana, New York, and South Korea. But getting these massive fabrication plants up and running takes years. Industry leaders currently project that we won't see any meaningful relief for global memory capacity until at least 2028. Because physical, concrete, and machinery simply cannot be built as fast as the demand for AI software is growing, PC builders are stuck in a multi-year supply drought. With the major players focused entirely on enterprise AI, a vacuum has opened up in the consumer space. Stepping into that gap is a Chinese-based manufacturer named CXMT, which currently holds about 5% of the global market. Because CXMT isn't tied down by massive multi-year AI contracts, they actually have the capacity to supply standard DDR5 chips to consumer-focused brands like KingBank, who are trying to offer gamers a cheaper alternative. The obvious question for anyone building a PC right now is whether this budget-friendly underdog memory can handle high-end gaming. If you look at this side-by-side bar chart tracking performance in Cyberpunk 2077, you can see that the CXMT-based memory outputs frame rates perfectly identical to an ultra-premium kit from a brand like G-Skill. Now, because CXMT's overall production capacity is still quite low, their memory isn't dirt cheap. But at around $50 less than the major brands, it is currently the most viable alternative on the shelf. The near monopoly at the top of the memory market has inadvertently created a real opening for smaller challenger brands to step in and keep the consumer PC market afloat. Even with these alternatives, you are going to pay a heavy premium for whatever DDR5 memory you can get your hands on today, which makes protecting that hardware critical. The biggest threat to modern memory is heat. If you run these DDR5 modules at temperatures over 70 degrees Celsius during a heavy gaming session, you are going to run into severe system instability. To prevent this, you should download a free monitoring tool like HWinfo to actively track your RAM temperatures while your system is under load. If your memory is getting too hot, a cheap dual-fan RAM cooler can direct active airflow right over the sticks. This simple addition can easily drop your operating temperatures safely below the 60-degree threshold. Until the AI hardware boom levels out and those new factories finally come online in 2028, anyone building a PC will have to rely on these challenger brands and strict thermal management to survive the squeeze.